Aloha, friends and neighbors. Welcome to show 1013 of Astrology, Ancient Science in the Modern World. Astrology was the base science, you know. It was used in all the other sciences, and for thousands and thousands of years. Of course, we're living now at the end of the age of Pisces, and by golly, we've had 2,000 years of persecution and cover-up, and we've just gone through another month of it. We had a new moon on Uranus, and for a while it felt like there was freedom and independence around, but Pluto came along, and Pluto, he's the man with the gun over there. He stopped, he squared Uranus, and he's stationed. And you've been through it. I'm back here. I'm doing this show on the 8th of April, and so I'm still experiencing a lot of this stuff. But what you should know is that on May 6th there's a new moon at 17 Taurus, and that takes us out of that turbulent month of the new moon on Uranus squaring Pluto, the man with a gun. And, you know, I'm reminded of how tricky the forces of suppression are in this country. And it's the same way all over the world. The people that want to maintain control versus those that want something new or different or something of the Aquarian values. So as of the new moon on May 6th, we have a month of getting out of those turbulent times, and unfortunately a loss of those Aquarian values. So let's get a look at the sky mirror. What's coming up for you for this next period, huh? Whoa. You can see it's not easy for me here all of a sudden, because I'm in the middle of it all, huh? And I've had my share of problems I won't tell you about, mostly technical, but a lot of people have had difficulties. And probably everybody's welcome to that May 6th new moon to get out of them. Let's see how it goes day by day. How's it going to come up in your world, huh? We're going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern. But I tell you, one thing that's going on right away is there's a T-square in the sky from Neptune to Jupiter to Saturn. Yes. Now, Jupiter and Saturn in square, those are Republicans and Democrats, you know, fighting it out. Neptune? Tricky stuff. Yeah. Deception. I just found out that there's new management at our public access television station on the Big Island, and by golly, they're making up all these rules and regulations, and it's not going to make it easier, going to make it a lot harder for independent people to get their stuff on the air. Typical kinds of suppression. Well, we used to call it the establishment, huh? Back in the old days. Entrenched people in power. There's Pluto. Well, the moon's going by there, and on Wednesday you had a shot of it, didn't you? On April 27th, the moon went by Pluto, and eek, a bug. Panicky. Suppression. You know, the nail sticks up, knock it down with a hammer. What do they say? If all you got is a hammer, the world looks like nails. If all you have is guns, you know, the world looks like things to shoot. Bang, bang. Well, Wednesday's your shooting day. Hope it gets better after the May new moon. Thursday night, you're not going to get much rest. There's a square to Venus. The moon squares Venus, and I can't get no sweets. On Friday the 29th, the moon's in Aquarius, and it feels pretty good. In the middle of the day, here's a nice sextile to Mars. Let's get out and fix something. But the plans go awry. We no sooner get started at it, And then there's difficulties. The moon squares the sun. They're squabbling. The boss doesn't like it. So what do? Dream on. Here around dinner time, here's a nice sextile to Neptune. Now that can't be. What is that? Here I am stuck. Ignore that. Here's here's Saturn late at night, Friday night. This is midnight or something. The moon sextiles Saturn, and you can get a plan together, but it's traditional stuff. The establishment is getting its way here, and they have help. So look out. On Saturday, the moon's still in Aquarius, and you finally get a little revolutionary movement here in the middle of the day when the moon sextiles Uranus. And I've had some flashes of wonderful new information, and technical stuff when this Uranus is going off. Yeah, you got to keep your head down. There's a man with a gun over there, and there's people doing power and control trips in very sneaky ways. So, but nevertheless, here's enlightenment. It's Saturday around the middle of the day. Turn on your TV set, turn on the internet. There are things going on in the world that are wonderful, free, Aquarian kinds of stuff, and they're there. A couple hours after that, though, on Saturday, here's the moon squaring Mercury. Now Mercury is slowing down to stop, and he's getting very, very, very strong. Here's the way it looks in the ephemeris. Here's Mercury, see? And there's being a little R means Mercury's going retrograde. Yeah, it happens twice a year at least. It's going to go retrograde on Thursday. And so for 3 weeks after this period, you might have to go to the store twice. Things that Mercury does, a messenger, taking things around, phone calls, letters, communications, about half of them have to be done twice when Mercury goes retrograde. The little imp. You can lose your keys and things too. And so you just let go and you'll find them again. Here's, let's see, back to the sky mirror. Saturday, enlightenment in the middle of the day, and then problems with Mercury. He's retrograde, and you're going to lose things, and lose keys, and lose letters, and can't find it. Where'd it go? Relax. It's the only thing you can do. Sunday morning, about 1 or 2 in the morning, here's a sextile to Venus, and you're feeling relaxed. You're probably all asleep. Good for you. Moon went into Pisces, and a little healing is a good idea here. The middle of Sunday, however, in the afternoon, here's a square to Mars, and there's still some anger around. Mars is retrograde, and impatience, and I'm in a big hurry, and I can't find anything, and my keys are gone, and the letter's missing, and there's confusion and delusion as the moon goes by Neptune about 11, 10, 11 o'clock or so. More confusion. This is a day, Sunday night, early Monday morning, when all these planets stack up that are in opposition and squares. And here's Jupiter over here that's still, making a fuss. Wise men, lawyers, and professors, they're going to go after Neptune. Who's that? The drug companies, the GMO, the chemical companies, the entrenched doctors in our culture that feed us all those bad pills? Or is this the drug war? Probably the truth will come out about it. Oh, I got something to show you. Wait till we get done with the sky mirror. Anyway, what a day. It starts Sunday night with dreaminess, and by the time you get to Monday morning, here's the opposition to Jupiter. The square to Saturn clicks in. This is a really tough Monday morning. There's a sextile to Pluto, but it doesn't come in until about 9, 10 o'clock or so. You'll get some power and control and decide that you can get out there and get things moving again. But, don't try to leave too early for work on Monday, or you'll run into trouble. Monday evening, Here's a nice sextile to Mercury. Oh, we found the keys. The letter popped up. It's Mercury is definitely a trickster, and he's doing some things on us here. Tuesday, in the morning, the moon's still in Pisces, and so you're going to feel some of that tension from the T-square. But about after breakfast here, just before lunch maybe, the moon shifts into Aries, and it's a different ball game. And there's a trine to Mars in Tuesday afternoon and evening. Physical things are okay. You can get stuff done here. You know, it's a nice time. And I'm not doing very well on my graphics here today. You just have to put up with me. I'm working in the middle of that chaotic month. Here's Wednesday, the 4th of May, and there's a trine to Saturn. You're well organized in the morning. There's a square to Pluto, though. Comes up, eek, panicky feeling, before lunch. And then the moon has to go by Uranus. Here's the old Uranus-Pluto square. Technical problems. I'm all alone. Twist the connectors. The battery failed. Electrical things. And this feeling, the revolutionary spirit got knocked down with a hammer. And we feel a little smaller because of it. But it's still there. Once you see things, once you're wakened up, you cannot disremember it. So once you understand something, wow, it changes you. Wait till you see what I got about this stuff. On Thursday, the moon goes into Taurus, a fixed earth sign. It changes a lot. It starts to relax. Here's a conjunction to Venus. It's rewarding, sweet, sexy Thursday night. Feels much, much better. On Friday, May 6th, we got that nice new moon. And this one sextiles Neptune. We regain some faith in things. Trines Pluto. Maybe the cops and the guns aren't so bad after all. Maybe we all need guns. There's a trine to Jupiter. You mean the lawyers say it's okay? Crazy gun culture, America. Too many movies. Too many movies. But, you're going to feel like it's a good thing on Friday the 6th, and it's a new beginning, and it's going to go, this Friday is going to flavor the whole month. So be careful what you support. Just because the whole group, the herd, runs off to support this thing, the public in America is a fickle bunch, and you never know which way the herd is going to turn. Look out. I don't believe in things. I recommend you don't believe in the stuff that comes up after this May 6th new moon either. Question authority. Friday continues through the moon in Taurus, and through most of Saturday morning the moon's still in Taurus, and you can still relax and feel kind of good about things. And then on Saturday, May 7th, in the afternoon, you hit the opposition to Mars, and there's some anger around, and it starts, the moon's in Gemini, look out, we got problems again, and we got to protect something. What are we protecting? I don't know, we're angry. Saturday afternoon and evening continues through Sunday. Sunday morning is just downright chaotic. Here's a square to Neptune, the square to Jupiter and the opposition to Saturn. All these politicians and people of authority are confused and deluded, and they're going to continue with these misplaced policies. Well, isn't the drug war a good thing? My goodness. What's wrong with GMOs? So you got to watch it a little bit. Sunday evening, really after dinner, there's a sextile to Uranus, and some common sense takes a hold. But gosh, I made a few notes over here, and the Sun sextile Neptune Sunday night. That this is your first Sunday night, but once you start believing in stuff, look out. This is tricky stuff. Don't take that drug. Don't drink the alcohol. Don't buy the GMO. Don't use that Roundup. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. What are commercials on television for? They're there to sell you stuff you don't need. That's what they're there for. Uh-oh, alarm bells. Okay, I just got to share that with you. Nixon. What happened is Ehrlichman was Nixon's right-hand man, and as Ehrlichman got cancer or something, he spouted out the truth. And it's been held down a little bit, but came out in Harper's April issue. And the quote is, "It's so alarmingly dastardly. It's hard to imagine how the journalist kept it to himself for all these years." But basically, here's what it says. "We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities." And they did. And that's what Nixon did. Tricky Dicky, you know. So this war on drugs, you know what it's about? It's about the anti-war left and black people. And the big fear, the FBI guys, all of them, Nixon especially, was really afraid that the anti-war movement was going to get together with the black folks and some of the social issues. So if those two groups got together, you know, down came Nixon. He says, "Did we know we were lying about the drugs?" "Of course we did," he said. Seriously. Ehrlichman spoke with the bluntness of a man after public disgrace and federal prison. He had little to protect. And what comes out with this confession is something we kind of all knew about, but, you know, here's the proof. Nixon, invention of the war on drugs as a political tool, was cynical, but every president since, Democrat and Republican alike, has found it equally useful for one reason or another, and chose to ignore. Meanwhile, the drug war is now impossible to ignore. Billions of dollars, you know, and Woodstock generation in jail, you know, for the last 40 years, while these right-wing fanatics have run our country into one war after another. Yes. So, look out. There are still Nixon types out there, and they're still trying to do dastardly things. And isn't it amazing how just a few people in the power positions can do these things, and the great American herd of the public, or are they cow people or whatever, just goes along and ignores it all. Or maybe people were happy that hippies and blacks got discriminated against. Reminds me of the fascist pigs in Germany, and how Hitler took one little rule after another, one law after another, to slowly box in the Jews. I feel the same way. I'm Woodstock. You know, I just found out that the new management at our public access station has declared those of us that don't go in and use the facility are no longer producers. Yes. And so they're taking away our status as public access producers and just calling us presenters, which means they won't let us do series anymore and have a regular slot. So you may see this change, and you may see that this program is not on at the same times, and this is all about Nixon type guys who got into our public access management, just like they did at Alelo over in Honolulu. You have to go into their office and make work for them, otherwise they won't play. They're slowly squeezing out the freedom voices. Yes. Okay, here's something else I want to share with you. The right-wing fanatics, the fascist pigs, let's call them, they do word magic. They change the words, like they're trying to do for us here. All of us producers at Naleo they're not going to call us producers, they're going to call us presenters if we don't use their facilities. Anyway, Okay, this is all about, started with Tom Brokaw, the guy who speaks with marbles in his mouth. And he called himself and the people of World War II the greatest generation. And that's been going on in the media for some time. You change a word and you say it's the greatest generation, that we fought World War II, we went through all this stuff. No, it wasn't the greatest generation at all. It was the worst generation. I call them the Big Hope generation. Full-time war, money manipulation, prejudice, heartless greed. That was the mark of Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, and a whole bunch of people from that generation that fought World War II and went on and kept us in war for a while too. So what did Tom Brokaw do? He called them the greatest generation. And now what I hear on TV is they labeled the hippies baby boomers. Oh yeah, Woodstock generation has become baby boomers, and these guys who got us into World War II are still running all these war machines. They call the greatest generation. Oh ye hypocrites. Oh ye hypocrites. Here's a hint for you. Woodstock generation happened from 1936 to 1947. It had to do with Uranus and Neptune in harmony. Another little spat was 62 to 68, and then 1989 to 1996. These are enlightened people. Yes, they are enlightened. Jesus had a chart that's very similar. Look what they did to Jesus. Well, they did the same thing to the Woodstock generation. Oh no, baby boomers, huh? They change words, see, and suddenly the greatest generation. And all these media take up these words and these labels, and the labels change the meaning of things. And a wonderful enlightened generation we call Woodstock has turned into baby boomers. And the worst of the warmongers have turned into the greatest generation. Oh, jeez, give me a break, huh? I'm a Woodstock person, and I remember that when we were doing all this stuff in the 60s, there was a bunch of other people around that were not Woodstock. We called them yuppies. Yuppies. Followers of the Big Hope generation, huh? You like Frank Sinatra music instead of Beatles music? You are a yuppie. So the yuppies, all they want is money. And they got right in there with the World War II generation that kept us in war for so long. And that's what's going on in this country. The war is still going on between Woodstock and people who want freedom and independence and equality. The shame of it is, I grew up in Oakland, and there was lots of hippies at Berkeley. I went to Berkeley, and there were Black Panthers. I used to, in wrestling class in high school, I wrestled Black Panthers. Black Panthers were good guys. Yeah, but the Black Panthers and the blacks never got together with Woodstock environmentalists. No, what happened? It was the main thing that the establishment wanted to do is keep the blacks and all these other racial trips and equality trips aside from Woodstock generation's environmentalism. If the two of them got together, whoa, the Big Hope generation could be brought down, and it certainly needs to be. You know that we have more Navy vessels than the rest of the world put together? Our defense budget is more than the rest of the world put together. We are a warring nation, and you can thank guys like Tom Brokaw and the greatest generation and all the stupid movies. All you see on TV is Clark Gable and the guns, and this is really propaganda from the so-called greatest generation, the worst generation we've seen all over the world. Yes, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, all this continual war. It's all about those same bunch of people. Oh no, it's cowboys and Indians, and it's all about the guns. Carry your gun, huh? Jeez, yuppies. By the way, data on lead. Any lead at all dumbs down children. Turns out most of the mainland is already dumbed down their kids. Yeah, lead paint, lead from gasoline, and lead in the water. And you're dealing with a lot of American citizens out there, a lot of yuppies that aren't too smart anymore. That's the truth. 1988 to 1962, some of the newspapers went off on crazy cat ladies, huh? And they've made them, anybody who takes care of cats got to be a crazy old lady. Cat House on the Kings is a lady who runs a shelter, and there's 1,000 cats.
We currently
Wonderful
have
stuff.
about 800 adults and 300 kittens.
But they aren't just her pets. Latanzio actually runs one of the nation's largest free-roaming, no-kill animal shelters, the Cat House on the Kings.
I feel that when cats are in tight quarters and confined, that they get stressed out.
The cats are free to roam through the 12 acres of land, but the humans all seem to gravitate towards one room in particular.
We have more visitors that come to the kitten room than any place else.
And it's easy to see why. Just look at those sweet faces. Look, we even have the same eyes. But even taking care of the cutest creatures can be taxing.
The Cat House on the Kings, for the first 7 years, that was out of my pocket, and that was several $100,000 of my retirement.
The Cat House on the Kings is clean, efficient, and it's not only surrounded by cats, we also have this beautiful scenery around us. Yeah.
Incredible story. She's rescued 20,000 cats. In California. A wonderful story. Just Google 1,000 cat lady on YouTube or any place, and you'll find out about this wonderful shelter. Somebody's doing something after all. Hooray! I just found out the new management at Public Access is changing the name. They do name magic. Instead of producers, if we don't go in there and use their facilities, we're going to be called presenters, and they can no longer guarantee our time slots. Oh boy, the forces of suppression are closing in, huh? Eek, a bug! First it was this: you must put these 3 notices at the end of your show or we won't air it. A disclaimer. Nobody's responsible for what I say. Then we have, now I'm a presenter, not a producer. Oh boy.